Hey, what's up? So I wanted to share my thoughts on Spider-Man 2 after having completed the game now. I've completed it. I've got a bunch of notes to talk about. I have not put these together into a official post type thing. I'm not in the mood to sit down and write it all out right now. That's what I do. I'll take a bunch of notes to remind myself of things that stood out or that I wanted to share and talk about. And then I put it together in more words, usually, right? Because my notes are short; they're very short. I'll like 4 or 5 words, and most of the time, um, per sentence or whatever. Like as a bunch of different notes, and they're all very short notes that I then expand on, which I will do for this video. I just don't feel like writing it out right now. I've been keeping distracted, moving from game to game. I actually started playing Spider-Man Remastered after beating part 2 because I wanted to play more. I 100% of the game. I didn't 100% trophy wise, like achievements or whatever. But I finished all the content. Everything. I finished all of Spider-Man 2. And actually beat it. It's like a 30. Well, I mean, I have like, I think 36 to 37 hours played on it. So a little bit of that might be chill time. But it's around like a 35 hour camp to finish everything, which reminded me a little bit of Mafia 3 because I felt the same way. Like I liked that Mafia 3 was so easy to complete everything. Not like easy. It didn't take 100+ hours to complete everything. Because sometimes it can just be a bit too much. Like the newer Assassin's Creed games, it can be a bit too much. Like I hate Odyssey, man. I hate Odyssey. Valhalla is I love the world, but yeah, they're just so bloated and whatever. Like it's cool for a world to play in and it can waste your time and take a lot of time. That's kind of cool, but not when all the content is exactly the same. When it's the same mission over and over again. It's kind of whatever. I did like Origins though. But anyways, no. So I thought that was kind of cool. There's enough extra in the game to keep you playing it for a bit longer, right? But not too much, right? So I saw a recent article, and I see these from time to time. These different articles that pop up, and it's just like the headline is something like, "Do gamers really want longer games, or they want better games?" And that's not the first. They come up all the time. It's like, dude, you can have a good long game. Stop doing this crap. Stop trying to say that a 4-hour game is worth $70. No, it's not. I could say, hey, I could understand the perspective, right? Like, yeah, it was worth it. I enjoyed it a lot, whatever. But that's not bang for your buck or whatever, right? Like it's just like, come on, just stop being stupid about it. Like, I love a good short game, but I don't want it to be short, Like, I hate that whole thing. It's just so stupid. It was just like, whatever. Anyway, all right. So my thoughts have rambled a little differently this time. I'm on my I'll say a second official recording of this because the first time I recorded for like 15 minutes or thought I did, and then I realized I was muted. I just updated Windows, and that usually changes settings, and I forgot to check after I updated Windows to make sure that the settings were still the same, and they were not. So I was like, crap. All right. So anyways, Spider-Man 2. Here are my notes on this game. So first off, I like the bicycle riding and the B game, and I'm sad I can't remember exactly how the B game plays because I wrote this down as a note and I didn't expand on it. I just said I like the B game and the bicycle riding, and there's a specific reason for that. It's because it is a complaint that a lot of people will generally have. And I've had this before too, like, when you're forced into side stuff in a game they don't really want to do, it can be annoying. But that doesn't mean it's not like a cool thing in the game. Like I really did enjoy the bicycle riding parts in the game. I like they could be a little boring. It depends on your mood too, like, it really does. Like, because like the first time I did the bicycle riding, I kind of hated it. Like I liked the mechanics, and the visuals, of course, is beautiful. The environment that you're riding through is great. The mechanics of the game or the bicycle are fine. They're smooth. They're fun. Whatever. But I didn't want to sit through that, right? But then the second and I think third time that I had a bicycle like mission type thing that you ride a bicycle on were fun. Like I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna like whatever here. This is gonna be slower to go through it and whatever. But yeah, no, I did like the bicycle riding and the B. I really wish I could remember what happens with the B game. I can't believe I've forgotten, man. I'm just like, damn it. Anyways, then there are these tag team ups in the game. They're random in the open world, depending on if you're playing Peter or Miles. Sometimes you'll come across the other character as you go like fight a crime. You know how like crimes pop up in the game, and you go stop the crime or whatever. And sometimes you'll come across the other Spider-Man, and they have the special takedown that they do together. It's a little combo takedown and stuff. And as far as I can remember, I can only remember one. There might have been two different ones, but I can only remember one takedown that they both do together. So sadly there wasn't too many variations on that I can remember, but it was really cool. I really did like coming across the other Spider-Man and crimes and then fighting together. And well, that was cool. That was really neat. It did remind me a little of dual play and Batman Arkham Knight. Not as good. Dual play in Arkham Knight was so good, and I'll never forget how disappointing that it just wasn't in the game more. Dual play was there besides the Batmobile, which was the big new thing in that game. But dual play was another new addition to the series, and it was amazing. I love dual play, man, and it's barely in the game. So I'm like, anyways, yeah. So the tag team ups in this one are different than the dual play, because in the dual play you actually would swap characters and whatever. And I didn't even think of that. I was like, oh man, I didn't even think to try to swap characters in the random tag team events in this open world. My guess would be that you don't switch between the characters, just because of the way that the character swapping works in the game. It kind of loads you out and loads you back in as the new character without a loading screen, but there's a little pause and then you switch characters whenever. So I don't think that would work in the random ones that you do in the open world, but it does make me curious. We got to try that maybe in the future. I don't really care, but because I mostly just like that it was a thing that you could come across the other Spider-Man and you would fight together. That was cool. In this game, Mary Jane is a freaking badass, dude. She's such a badass. And I remembered, and I couldn't remember exactly why I didn't like her missions in the previous game. I think they're in both. I think she has stealth missions in both the first game and Miles Morales. But I can't remember for sure about Miles Morales. But I do remember being annoyed by them. I didn't really super enjoy them, But now I'm playing through the game again. And the first mission I went with her was, I actually liked it. And mostly because of the story. The story is cool. I like to see her perspective and what she's going through for that. It was pretty neat. I think most of the time, I mean, even for me, like I was annoyed. It's just because it's not a part of the game that you want to play by default, right? Like if you buy Spider-Man, you're expecting it to swing around and web enemies and that kind of stuff. You're not expecting to like go to this side mission and be a weak little bastard, right? But anyways, no, so as I'm playing through it again, I'm enjoying it a little more. It's not as annoying as it was the first time I played. Even the second time, too, because I remember being annoyed by those parts for the second time I played through Spider-Man as well. I'm like, I don't want to do these damn Mary Jane missions. So what I thought was funny about this was, before I'd even played this game on PC Part 2, I had browsed the forums, and I had seen complaints about Mary Jane sections being back in the game. And I saw them saying, like, nobody liked these in the first game. Nobody liked these missions. Like, why are they back? And then when I played it, the very first thing I thought as playing Mary Jane in this game, the very first enemy I took down, I was like, those people are morons. And then the more I played as Mary Jane too, I was like, dude, they were like, why'd you bring these segments back? They sucked. Nobody liked them. And I'm like, well, clearly they're a million times better in this game. Like, way better. I love playing Mary Jane in this game. It's so much fun. And after the first time I played as her, I looked forward to when that would happen again. I didn't need it to, and I don't even think I really expected it to, but it was kind of like, it's probably going to happen again at some point, right? That's not something that they do a lot. I think I played as her like maybe 3 times at the most in the game. Excuse me one sec. Sorry. And I liked it. Mary Jane is really cool. And she's not like a super powered badass or anything. I think there was a couple cinematics in the game where she tries to fight back and like punch or slap a bad guy or whatever, and they just shrug it off and knock her, beat her down or whatever. But when she's using the taser as a stealth type of thing, It's freaking awesome, dude. It's so awesome. I love her. I love her stealth takedowns with the taser. It's really cool. And her levels and missions that she does are pretty dang cool. So I like that. Yeah, Mary Jane is a total badass in Spider-Man 2. There's a drone chase, and I forgot about this. This note I wrote was when I was first playing the drone chases. They're overly sensitive on the keyboard. So at first, damn, 1 sec, sorry. Okay. At first, the drone chases I liked them right away. They were fun. They remind me of the pigeon chases in the first game. And I liked it, but it could be a little difficult depending on which one you're doing too, because each different chase, there's a different difficulty and challenge to it, right? You know, some of them are easy and some of them are more difficult. But I liked it, but the first thing I noticed, especially on like a lot of turns, was that the keyboard was really sensitive. So I imagine it's probably better on a controller just for the analog sensitivity. But after a little bit of getting used to it, I noticed, you know, you could just tap on the keyboard left or right rather than hold it. You don't want to hold it because you'll easily overshoot the tunnel that you're supposed to stay inside. And the other thing that I noticed after doing the drone chases a few times was that I don't know why I didn't notice it the first time. I think it's mostly because, like, as you're chasing a drone, there's like this wind tunnel type thing behind it that you're supposed to stay inside, right? And that keeps you like going or whatever. So the visual effect is pretty noticeable and in a sort of way distracting, but you know, you're going through this tunnel and you're following the tunnel and you're trying to stay inside of it. And it took me a few chases before I realized, like, oh, I could, like, I just noticed it. I was just, for whatever reason, I started watching the drone. Before that, I think I was watching the tunnel to keep in the tunnel, you know. I just started watching the drone and I could see where it was turning, and then I could just know where I needed to turn rather than follow the tunnel itself that I'm supposed to stay inside. Just try to keep an eye on the drone, and then you can see where it's turning and stuff like that. And it just made it easier to follow with the turns once I started paying attention to the drone itself and not the tunnel behind the drone that you stay inside. So that was just a little note that I had on that one. Man, that just sucks. You can create webs of webs, which I thought was really cool. The new mechanic. You know, you can create a web, like attach it to a wall or a pole or whatever, but then you can also web to your web. So you can create all kinds of new like ground for you. Like while you're up above, you can create all kinds of little lines and stuff that you can crawl across and get stealth attacks from. It's pretty neat. There is a maximum. I think it's like 6 webs that you can create before it starts. Like if you create a new one, then it'll get rid of like a previous one or whatever. I'm trying to get this out. Yeah, it really sucks because I was recording like the 15-minute video while muted, and I did not have to clear my throat so often. Like now I'm like, ah. There's an excellent variation and variety in suits. Very impressed. My favorite thing about this one is the variation in the colors, the color schemes that you can pick for almost every suit in game. There's a few that you can't change. So, for example, I haven't counted them, but for example, if there are like 20 suits in the game, there are only 4 of them that I can't change the colors on. So that's cool. That's a nice new addition, is being able to adjust color schemes for the suits. That's pretty cool. And they're not like your own creation. You have like 4 choices of color schemes that you can pick from, but that's still really, really cool. And damn it. Excuse me. Let me have another drink of water here. Okay, sorry. Yeesh, man. Man, there's so much about the suits. That was one of my favorite things about the first game. Was I was surprised how many different suits you could play in. You know, how many you get to choose from. Eventually, after you unlock them and stuff, of course. My favorite one that I'll never forget was the Ghost Rider looking one, and he doesn't really look like Ghost Rider, but he's got a flaming head skull, and that's what made me think of Ghost Rider. That was my favorite suit in that game. And it is hard to pick a favorite suit in these games. Oh my gosh, most of them are just so cool. And what made me mad about this game, I was collecting these spider bots, which are super cute and cool. I just don't really know what the actual point of them ever was in the game. But one of them, and I for a while I was collecting them. I thought they were all this. I didn't realize I was just collecting them because they were collectible like side quests to do whatever. And so I was just running around collecting them. But I didn't realize they all look different. Every one of these spider bots that you collect is like a different version of Spider-Man, kind of the suits that he wears and stuff. And they're very cool. And one of the spider bots is the Ghost Rider one, has the skull flaming helmet or flaming head, and I was like, wait, that costume's not in the game. And I was like, and then when I saw the spider bot, I was like, crap, my favorite costume's not in this game, you bastards. Like, why? Bring back Ghost Spider. Okay. But yeah, no, so that's the suits are great. I really love the color schemes. And I know, as far as I can remember, I remember Miles Morales also improving on like the suits, just from the different types that you get and stuff, which makes sense. It's different character-ish. They do have familiar suits too. Like each character has these similar suits that aren't quite the same but look a lot alike, But I can't remember exactly how Miles Morales improved on the suits. I just remember that they did improve on it, but I don't think they had color schemes for it. So that's really cool. I love it. I love the color, especially because like maybe a couple of the suits or a few of the suits or whatever, I wouldn't consider them without that other color scheme. Like the default color scheme, I'm like, nah, I don't like that. But if I go into the variations, I'm like, oh, I like that one, right? Like that's pretty cool, man. Okay. I love that Yuri is a superhero in this game. And it's I don't know if it's a spoiler. I don't consider it a spoiler, but it was a nice like thing to see. So I'm kind of like, crap, is that? I don't think it's too spoilery, She's not like she's not super powered. She didn't get like superhero powers, but she's a superhero now. Like that's cool. I guess they would call it a vigilante or whatever. But I thought that was cool because like, I'm against the whole system thing, and I don't like cops generally, like not as people, but just as a system. But I loved Yuri in the previous games. I think she's in Miles Morales as well too. I don't remember all the differences between the first game and Miles Morales' game, other than Miles himself. His story is different. But because I'm pretty sure Mary Jane was also in that. I think, I don't know. It's just been too long since I played, and I will be playing that again. After I beat the remastered version. But I liked Yuri. I liked her. She was cool. She was a very cool character in the first game. So seeing her back as kind of a new thing was awesome. Really liked seeing Yuri and how she is in this game. Actually reminds me, there was I forgot. I have a note of it here too somewhere. I have so many notes. But oh yeah. Spider-Man asks Yuri, do you have any tattoos? And I don't remember why he asked her that. And she said, just the one of Spider Cop's graveyard. Oh my gosh. I laughed. That was so freaking funny, man. Because, replaying the first game, I started again after beating part 2. And their conversations with Spider Cop. Spider Cop was one of the funniest things in that first game. I love Spider Cop, dude. So freaking funny, man. So I loved that little thing they had. I guess they call it a quip or whatever. But that little joke they had, like, do you have any tattoos? Just the one of Spider Cop's graveyard. And Spider-Man responds something like, "Oh, that's messed up," or something. I can't remember exactly what he says, but he's like, "Oh man," But I just thought that was really funny. Okay. Mysterio visuals are cool, but I don't like the DJ thing. Why are you a DJ? Minigame is fun, but the theme is stupid to me. Yeah. The whole Mysterio thing I didn't like at all. Like his character was not cool. And it's just the whole thing was dumb. I like the stages that you play in. The environments and stuff are really cool for his little minigame. But character-wise, just dumb. Didn't like him at all. Like, just very disappointing. Especially after the version that they had in... which movie was it? It wasn't No Way Home, right? I can't remember what the one before that was called, but it was with the second Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland. I'm pretty sure it was the second one, right? Maybe it wasn't. Whatever. I don't remember the name, but you know, with Mysterio, and that was really well done, really well written, very well. Even like while watching that movie, I knew Mysterio was a bad guy, and I couldn't help but hope that the writing changed and they were gonna make him a good guy in that movie. Just that's how well it was done. That's how, like, I was like, oh, is he actually gonna be a good guy now? Because they do the whole alternate universe stuff and whatever and all that. Because I wasn't sure. That's how well written it was. I was like, oh my gosh, this is badass. You know, it was really good. So this Mysterio was just a big disappointment in comparison to that one. Let's see. I have notes on propaganda inside, but I really don't want to get into that. I mean, everything has propaganda. That's just a fact. Everything, every single one of your favorite things, your favorite books, your favorite anything has propaganda in it, no matter what. So I don't want to get into that. It is annoying though. I actually wrote like kind of a little bit of long notes here, and I'm just like, you know what? I don't want to talk about that. Nah, man. Damn it. But yeah, it always sucks to see the obvious propaganda, you know. And I really do think a part of it is a part of our brainwashing. Like, it's a part of our stories or whatever that we talk about, because that's what we've been told to believe, you know. But we will write based on what we think and believe in stuff. That's just how it is. So even if oftentimes what we believe is a lie, so congrats, yay, you know. Anyways, propagandas and everything. There was a funny part too, like, you want to talk about propaganda, you know, everything right now, and this has been going on for a long time, even since the 90s, you know. They were talking about bioscans and this and that and whatever, but they just slowly normalize it in real life. It's just so weird. It's so weird to go back and read these old stories that I am lately, like comic books and stuff like that, TV shows, and to see it all from the 90s. But I also remember it too. I remember a lot of it. That's why I was like, oh man, I remember all this from the 90s. And I didn't think about it when all this stuff first happened, when I was first seeing it in 2019, 2020. I didn't recognize it all right away. And the more I got into everything, I was like, oh, this is all Desert Storm and all before and everything. Anyways, it's all the same, man. It's crazy. So one of the things I thought was funny about this game is there's this old lady that asks you for help, and she's hearing this beast in her yard, like tearing stuff up and whatever, and she's a blind old lady. So part of that story, you end up reprogramming a giant robot dog and giving it to her as a bodyguard pet, like a giant robot dog. And I'm just like, dude, and it's a vicious robot dog, man. He reprogrammed it. It's nice and friendly and stuff, and they don't show it in cinematics or anything, but like on the robot dog, at the point he gives it to the old lady, it's got like all these stickers all over it, and it's all like cutesy looking and whatever, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. Anyway, it's funny, and that's funny. Robot, you know, militarized robot dogs are vicious, and that's what they're created for, but we reprogrammed it and made it a friendly guard for a blind woman. that's funny, man. All right. Oh yeah, I guess these might be negative notes, I think, possibly. It looks like, and I still have more positive notes too. I have a separate section that I had to make. One thing I noticed about this in the title screen, it doesn't have the custom costumes, like when you change your suits, and I had thought that was something that was in the first game. Now, I don't know if this is the difference between PS4 and PC, or if I'm remembering it wrong, or if it's just a freaking Mandela effect. I'm kidding, but you know, that was funny. But I had thought, and I'm probably just remembering it wrong, but because I've beaten the game twice on PS4, but I think I'm probably just remembering that wrong. But I had thought that when at the title screen, once you change suits in the game, the title screen would show like your updated suit, and it doesn't. So that was just something I noticed, and I like I said, I thought it was in the previous games, but maybe not. Okay, that's just a note. Like, it's kind of sucks that your in-game costume doesn't go to the title screen. Not a big deal. There's a stupid story about keeping education a priority over being a hero. That's right, I forgot all about this, and it's early on in the game. Peter and Miles, you know, they're doing their whole college applications, this and that, whatever, and part of their discussion, their conversations with each other is like, oh, you know, you need to focus on yourself and focus on your education and not being a hero. And I'm like, no, that is so wrong. I don't give a crap. Yeah, like maybe in a fake world where that makes sense in fantasy land where education might be a real thing that not in the real world. That's you know, like, no, our education is brainwashing. Literally brainwashing. It's garbage. If you were able to be a superhero in real life, screw your education. You know how to read and write, sure, and how to speak a language, like, you know, duh, right? But no, don't give up being a superhero to go to college. Shut the hell up, man. Just, ooh, I was so mad. I was like, nope, 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 nope. You try to tell. I mean, even Superman would say the same thing. Like, if I could be Superman, no, I wouldn't be telling you, oh, go to school. No. No. Anyways, that bugged the crap out of me. There's another one I have a note too. Graffiti's a crime. That's so funny because I remember this as a child, dude. And I can kind of get it, you know, like not everybody wants a bunch of random crap sprayed on their walls, right? That I get, right? Especially like gangland territory, like those stupid, I forget what, like not the zip code, but the first three numbers of your phone number, like the area code or whatever, right? Like 213-818, all this stupid crap, right? Just, it's like, okay. Anyways, whatever. No, so I get that, like, but just the general idea of artwork as being a crime is hilarious. It's been around since I was a kid, you know, and I can't believe it's still a thing, you know. I mean, I kind of can, but it's stupid. But like I said, I can't understand. Not everybody wants a bunch of random crap on a wall or whatever, you know. There some graffiti is bad, but there's a lot of the good stuff, and that's the point too. Some stories try to point that out too. Like, these are actually really good artists, right? You know, like, a lot of them are, man. This is pretty cool. But yeah, there's actually like a little mission in the game too, where like, you play as the girl. That's let's see. I'll skip down to that note and then I'll come back up because I have a note on this. I'm just reminded of it because of the graffiti thing. Because there's a cute story about deaf girl, but play some damn music. The simulation of deafness is stupid. This was my note on that. So you play as the deaf girl and she's cute and cool, whatever. But part of it's one little mission you do with her. And she's chasing down like a graffiti, a tag artist or whatever. They're trying to stop graffiti or whatever. But what she notices is that it's good art. And so she just wants to help them like find another way to get their art out or whatever, you know, that kind of a thing. So as you play the deaf girl, there's no music, there's just silence. And I'm like, dude, it reminded me of that game. I can't remember the name. I just came across it too, like yesterday. Quiet. Is it just called Quiet? There was this game about a deaf person, right? And the combat was really cool. I played like a couple hours of it, but it was so hard to play through because you're literally sitting through half an hour long cinematics of no audio because the character's deaf. It's so stupid. Just like, no. Stupid. That doesn't help the experience. It's just dumb, all right? It's so dumb. So I was very frustrated by that. It's just derpy. Like, you're simulating deafness. Like, come, dude, no. Like, representation. You know, shut the hell up. I'm done with it, man. I'm done. It's just stupid. I'm at the point now where I'm just sick and tired of people, like, speaking in different languages in a very clearly English TV show. Just stick to friggin' English, man. We know they know English. We know they speak English. Stop this crap. Just, anyways. And whatever, dude. I like foreign films. I've watched plenty of foreign films. I've watched plenty of subtitled movies. I was a huge fan of anime as a kid, and all of the anime back then was freaking subtitled. So, alright, I'm not against watching movies with subtitles. I'm just saying, this is some bullcrap. Sick and tired of it. Alright, anyways. Let's see. Typical and basic, normal propaganda. Same old, yeah. That was actually why Yuri stood out a little different to me, because she's no longer a cop, you know, vigilante and whatever. I thought that was cool. Although I don't know, I don't remember them mentioning that. I don't know if she did that as like a side job, but I'm pretty sure she was no longer a cop. Anyways, I was bugged pretty early. I forgot about this. Enemy under the floor, had to reload checkpoint, which was fine. That was cool. Apparently, there's quite a bit of bugs in the PC version. Mostly fine though, and every bug that I came across was fixable with a quick reload checkpoint. It actually reminded me of Batman Arkham Origins, because Batman Arkham, especially in the launch, like first year, they did patch it up. They fixed it up pretty nice, but there were a lot of bugs in that, little minor ones, and every one of them was fixed with a quick reload, checkpoint reload. The cool thing is, most of those checkpoint reloads were like right then, right? So that's cool. That the checkpoints that you reloaded just to fix a bug were you were like 10 seconds away from where where it was bugged, right? So that was cool. It does remind me, there was another bug I encountered multiple times, and I even found it on the forums, found it on Reddit as well. There are these certain missions in the game where you have to follow a trail. It's like a sense trail thing, right? Like a holographic looking type trail. And every time I had one of those missions pop up, every single time, the trail was not showing. And I didn't know what was going to happen every time until after the first one. I looked at the forums and common issue on PC. So the fix for that is reloading the checkpoint. Reloading the checkpoint doesn't always fix it right away. There were a couple of those missions I had to reload the checkpoint like 4 or 5 times. And the cool thing about that is once you're on a checkpoint that reloads it to work, you'll notice it right away. You'll see the trail instantly. Like it'll just pop up. Like there's no way you would miss it. Like, did it work? Like, no, you'll see it right away. So you just have to reload the checkpoint as many times as it takes to get that trail to show up. So a little annoyance, but like at least the checkpoint is right there. It doesn't take you back 10 minutes for whatever. Because I've been there before, right? You get those bugs in games in the past where like something bugs out and you're back an hour's worth of game that you lost to fix that bug. Like that, well, yeah, no, terrible. No, so this one's cool, like instant fix with the reload. Let's see. Oh yeah, I was a little sad that it's another multiverse, alternate timeline thing. I thought for some reason, I don't know why, but when I played the original game, it seemed canon to me, right? Like it seemed like the normal Spider. But I mean, I'm so out of the loop with that stuff. I mean, there's so many multiverses. There's so many different. Spider-Man died in the comic books, apparently. I didn't know that, though. I found out like a couple years ago. I came across a comic book, a friend of mine had recommended to me too, but I hadn't looked at it yet, and then I came across it because I was subscribed to a thing and it showed up, and I was like, oh, I can finally read this because a buddy of mine had mentioned it. The Superior Spider-Man was apparently where you play as a Doc Ock inside of Peter Parker's body. Very interesting. Weird as heck, but interesting, and also well done. And Doc Ock actually becomes a really good Spider-Man. It's great. It's such a cool story. So because of that story, I was looking stuff up and I was like, Spider-Man died? What? Now I gotta read that crap. But anyways, no, so I didn't realize that this was like an actual like alternate universe, and I can't remember what made me think of it in this one. There's something in this game part 2 that makes it very clear that we're in an alternate universe, and I was like, oh man. Anyways, unless I'm misunderstanding things there too, because it sure as heck seems like it's not the like original or whatever. Let's see. Controls and air ducts suck. Just a minor annoyance. I could have removed that note. Just a little annoying in the air ducts. That's funny. Cartoon costumes missing special animation options on PC. Now fixed as of February 7th. Yeah, so the cartoon costumes, there's only a couple of them. And they're kind of cool because once you unlock that costume, you also get visual effects in the game. And I played with that in the original one as well. Pretty fun. They add like little comic style cartoonish like Bam and Pow type things in here, right? When you have those costumes. And that was not working apparently on PC, and there was a fix on February 7th for that. So that's cool. Let's see. Entire side mission dedicated to helping a gay dude ask a guy out. That was dumb. That was the whole side mission. The actual, like, they had this like a whole puzzle thing to solve that was actually kind of neat. But it was all this stupid thing to help a gay dude ask a guy out. Yeah. Dumb. Anyways, let's see. Oh, bug, loot a crate and make a crime disappeared. This was something I was experiencing. I hadn't read it. I didn't even bother looking it up. So I didn't care. But it was something I noticed. So, they're different, they're random like chests kind of around the world that you loot. And I I started noticing every time I would loot, it would depend. If a crime popped up, like right before I looted a chest, then the crime wouldn't disappear. But if I was on my way to the crime and I stopped to loot a chest, almost every time I would loot the chest, the crime would vanish from the map. And my guess was, I thought those were funny. I was like, maybe they're simulating like you're wasting time looting a chest, so the crime they got away. That was just the thought I had. I don't know if it's an actual bug or if that's like the real thing. Maybe they're just making it so that if you're doing other things while the crime is happening, they just get away. I don't know if it's on purpose or an actual bug. I just thought that was funny. All right, and then a little note: variation colors for the noir suit would have been cool. My favorite one, the trench coat and the hat. I would have loved to have seen variations of colors for that. Makes sense that it doesn't have them, but I just think that would have been cool. All right, let's see. So those were like a mix of notes there, and then I have another thing I'm scrolling to because I ran out of space on that one portion of Discord. I have a text limit, you know. I ran out of text. All right, so let's see. The story gets better and better and better, and I keep thinking I'm at the end. This happened multiple times in this game. I kept thinking because the story was so good. Just so, and the villains, everything going on was nuts, man. It was just like, it was so climactic. It was just so like, wow. And it happened multiple times. It was that I couldn't help but think, oh, this is over already. Because, you know, usually when something that big and major and epic happens, it's at the end of the game, right? You know, and I guess it does depend on the game. Plenty of games have multiple epic things out throughout, but this is usually, you know, it kind of ramps up, right? Like you'll have something really cool and badass here, and then like really cool and badass here, really cool and badass here, really cool and badass here, and then full blown ultimate major epic, and that's usually the end. But pretty much everything in this game was ultimate major epic and not the end. So it just kept getting better, and I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. And it just kept getting better and better and better. And I'm just like, damn, dude. And there is a major spoiler I want to mention, and I kind of wouldn't even consider it a spoiler because it's part of this story. Like, you know, Peter gets his suit, he gets the black suit, and oh my gosh, you instantly notice the power difference, man. Like, Spider-Man is nothing compared to Black Suit Spider-Man, dude. Cause in the game you're playing it, and it's the first thing they make obvious. You get that black suit, and you just give full-blown God mode. Boom. Like, your enemies stand no chance. And it's not like you weren't already a badass before, but holy crap, dude. That is nuts, man. And it gets better. And I'm not going to go into that. I want to, but it gets even better than that. It's just like, okay. To me, that's a little spoiler. Like, I don't think it ruined it, but I'm going to leave that out because it's just really cool. Okay, let's see. Mysterium challenges. Challenging for gold level. Oh yeah, I already mentioned it earlier. Stupid, worthless character, cool visuals on the missions and costume though. Yeah, see, oh yeah, the costume is pretty cool too. You unlock like a Mysterio style costume as well. And I noticed, so specific, this reminds me of like the previous challenge modes, Screwball, and then I forget who else, but like the combat missions, and there'd be extra challenges in them. If you complete it on like bronze or silver, it's mostly gonna be easy, but the gold level, like to unlock gold for that mission, can actually be pretty challenging. There was one I unlocked by default, not even trying, and that'll happen too, right? But that was just something to know. I thought that was cool that, you know, some of the challenges for that, you know, you're probably gonna take a few tries to complete on gold level and whatever. Let me see. Oh yeah, I have a note here. Spoiler to share thoughts on ending without actually saying what happens, because I was going to read my note and then see what I could talk about without spoiling too much. And I was like halfway through the game. Like I said, my other note is like, I kept thinking I was at the end of the game because the story was so good and the boss fights were badass, and it's just like, oh my gosh, this is too good, man. Let's see. Oh yeah, like part of it. And this is a normal thing too for these stories in general and whatever is fighting between knowing what's right and wrong. I love that a lot of the newer Superman comic books too have a lot of that as well, in comparison to where they were like, I guess a long time ago it used to be more about like black and white, right? Which I believe there's good and bad. I don't gray to me is rare. People will say, oh, it's gray, this and that, and no, it's not. No, there is a right and a wrong, flat out. There is right and wrong, good and bad. And there are gray areas here and there, but they're not as common as people want to make them out to be. Like, no. Anyways, so there is that theme in the story as well, with Peter fighting the dark side and stuff like that. And I love stuff like that. I love it. I think it's cool. It always remind me of like Star Wars. I think that was probably the first story for me as a kid where it was between like light and dark and whatever, you know, like that kind of a thing. And then with the hero struggling with the dark side of stuff. I like stuff like that. I always do it. So, and they did a good job of that in here as well. That's not even like some special thing that needed to be noted. I just like stuff like that, and I thought they did good. My favorite right now, dude, is Anakin. I hated episode 1. Episode 2 was okay, but episode 3 is my favorite Star Wars movie. Besides I forget, is it 8 or 8? I think 8. I liked 8. I liked 8 and 9. 7 was kind of dumb. But anyways, Anakin, the actor, Hayden Christensen, right? I thought he did an incredible job of going from like this heroic, innocent, sweet, caring person to deeply evil. Like, because I get the conflict throughout the story, the acting, the writing, but his acting was so good. You could see it in how he spoke and everything was just really good. I loved that. That's actually one of my favorite. I think it's my most favorite right now, of like watching a story of a character fight like that good, have the conflict between the good and the bad, right? Like he just did it so good, man. Anyways, all right, what else we got here? Not sure what the point of the Spider-Bot collection is if you can't use it for some kind of customization. They're super cool looking in the collection screen, though. Yeah, I had mentioned that briefly earlier. Like, it's funny to me. I really did like it. I didn't even notice it right away. I went back and I was looking at my collection screen and I started looking at the Spider-Bot. So I was just curious. I was like, what is even the point of these? I clicked on one. I saw the costume on it and I was like, oh, they have costumes. These are so cute. And everyone, you get like 50 of them, maybe. I don't know. There's a bunch of them. And they all have a different costume per Spider-Bot. But you don't do anything with them. They're useless, and you literally don't do anything other than loot them in the game, and then you have them on a collection screen, and that's it. And there's a little stupid final story like mission for it, but you don't get anything for it. It's just dumb. Like, I don't know what the point of it is. I would have thought like maybe when you're using spider bots in the game or something, I don't even know if you use them in attacks, like gadgets. Like the first game had gadgets, and this one you have powers. I don't think you summon spider bots. I can't remember summoning spider bots in this game, but I was like, you know, you collect all these different spider bots, like, and there's no point to it. There's no point at all other than you loot them and they look cute and cool, you know, whatever. So it's just weird. I did notice in like the last hour or two, a lot of stutters happened in cutscenes, and it wasn't, for me on my computer, it wasn't like constant. It was just here. It was I hadn't seen them that much through the whole game until like the last hour or two of cutscenes, and then and it wouldn't happen like throughout every cutscene. It was here and there, but you know, had some stutters and stuff. So just noting that. Had a bunch of it just popped up, but yeah, no, it mostly played fine. But yeah, the stutters can be annoying. I had seen a lot of complaints on the forums about performance issues and stuff like that. But you know what's funny about that is I see that on literally every single game forum on Steam. I don't even know anymore if it's real. I don't know if they're just bots like out there to throw crap out. Like, I don't get it, because literally every forum for every game on Steam, if you go look the first page or two, it's all the same posts, either issues with the game or woke stuff. Just every freaking game, man. Every damn one. Everyone. It's like there are just, I don't know, man. I don't know. All right. Let me see. There's a quote I saved here. I was too stubborn to see I had become what I despised most. And that was Mr. Negative said that. And apparently part of his story was he wanted revenge, and while he wanted revenge, he turned into a bad guy while trying to fight the bad guy. I have felt that, like, I get it, man. I'm full of hate now. All I have is hate now. It sucks. So, anyways, I thought that was a pretty cool quote from Mr. Negative. And then Venom says, "You have to kill us." That was a good line. I liked that too. I thought that was cool. Let's see. I put a note here. An expansion for Mary Jane like there was for Miles would be cool. And that's how much I liked her little segments. That's how badass she was. That's how much fun it was. I was like, dude, I could go for a side game of this like that. And I'm not actually requesting one. It would have to be good. I think it's cool as a side mission, but I don't know how well it would work as a full game, right? Like, that's all. But I think if you could expand on that, that could be cool. Could be. And something I forgot about too was Mary Jane in this game is so ugly. So ugly. But so is Peter. I hate the new model of Peter Parker. But something I noticed too, it makes sense. I like the newer games. They're they keep trying to improve on the graphics and stuff, make them all realistic and whatever. And I think maybe a part of that is the graphic style changed, right? Because even in the first game, they actually changed the model for Peter Parker, and I didn't like it. I still don't like it. I liked the original one. I preferred the original Peter Parker before they updated him and made him look better, right? More realistic or whatever. And I forgot, I had meant to like put an image together to show the different versions of Mary Jane from part 2 and part 1. As I was playing part 1 again after we beat part 2, and I couldn't remember because it'd been a while since I played, and I remember not being like attracted to Mary Jane in the first game or whatever. I didn't like think she was all hot or anything, but like I'm playing through it now and I'm like, oh yeah, she's way prettier in the first game than she is in the second game. Way prettier. And I'm just like, it was funny because it reminded me of something I had seen. People on forums and whatever, especially the woke, like, oh, is it woke? Is it woke? And people are saying some stupid crap. And I get it, because there is a lot of propaganda in like I said, it is in everything, no matter what. It is. So I understand their stupidity, right? But anyways, I had come across somebody saying something like, they're deliberately making all women ugly in these games. And I was thinking about it, and I thought, when I first saw that, I thought it was the stupidest thing I'd ever seen. But I was like, but why? And then I'm like, wait a second. I started thinking about it. I'm like, wow, I may not agree fully with that. Are they right? Are they right? Are they doing that? Because it does seem like it, actually. Like, look at it. Unknown 9. That girl's ugly as hell. Sometimes she looks a little pretty. Star Wars Outlaws. I think it's mostly with, like, visual glitches because she's a pretty character. I think she's pretty. I think what's her name? I can't remember her name now. Is it Kay or whatever? Star Wars Outlaws guy. I think she's okay. I don't think she's all super hot or anything, but she's pretty. But like generally, I was like, they're not exactly wrong. Like, all these characters are freaking ugly, man. Like, what the hell? It's funny, man. It is very weird. Okay. Anyways, let's see. What am I got? This note on here. Can't help but think of Miles Morales as Spider-Man 2. And that was just normal because it was the second game after the first game. Miles Morales came out, and it's like a standalone expansion, right? But it was enough of its own game to feel like a part 2. And part 2 is much superior. It's as far as story-wise, it's deeper, bigger, better, that kind of a thing. But this reminded me of Assassin's Creed Part 2. Now, this is another one that I'm just like, am I remembering this wrong? So I had played Assassin's Creed Part 2 and Brotherhood and Revelations, and back when I had played those, it was on live. And I remember that the titles back then said Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed 2, semicolon or whatever, Brotherhood, Assassin's Creed 2, semicolon, Revelations. And I remember a discussion about it, people were saying the reason it was like that was because it was the same character in a trilogy of games rather than like separate games having different characters. The reason that they did it, the reason that it was called Part 2 Brotherhood, Part 2 Revelations, was because it was the same character's story. And I remember people in discussion comparing it to Final Fantasy with like Final Fantasy X12 or X13, right? Yeah, Lightning Returns and those different things, right? They're all still Part 13 or whatever, but they're a different game kind of a thing. And then a few years back or so, I was calling it that. I was uploading screenshots for Assassin's Creed 2, and somebody replied to me. And because I was saying Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood, Assassin's Creed 2 Revelations. And somebody replied to me saying, those aren't Part 2, they're different games. But I remember, the reason I did that was because that was how I originally played it, was that title was like that. And I was like, wait, was it not like that? Or is it a Mandela effect? I'm kidding, I have to say a Mandela effect because it's freaking funny. I just thought that was weird because I remember that. I was like, and then I thought about it, I was like, well, maybe it was just a thing they did on live, but that would just be weird. Why would they do that if nobody else did it, right? Sometimes I think I died and went to a different world. Sometimes I do. Sometimes stuff is weird and different, and I'm just like, this doesn't make sense. Maybe I really died and went into another universe. Anyways. Let's see what else I have. Oh, excellent credit scenes. This is my final note. I just love the credits. It's why I actually put a couple of the credits screenshots in this that's been playing here. And I know this is a long video, or whatever. I just want to talk about the game. If you made it this far, cool. Glad you enjoyed it enough. Yeah, I have a hard time doing any stuff like this, especially if I know it's going to be long, because I don't know who's actually going to watch it. And with stats that I see, it's just like nobody watches anything, and it's like they click on it but watch like a second of it. That's what I'm told. That's what I'm shown by YouTube. They're like, yeah, nobody's actually watching this crap, no, I'm still going to share it anyways, just in case somebody wants to watch, But anyways, yeah, the credits, and if there was, after the artwork credits, it goes into the black screen credits, and it's like, black screen credits are always the worst, but the artwork and stuff that was in the end credits was very cool. So anyways, I might try to write this up and put it together into an article form, but I don't know if I will, especially right now. I am not in the mood to do that. I'm just not in the mood. I don't want to. Sometimes I'll get in the mood. Like Anthem. Oh my gosh, I loved writing about Anthem because I was just like, I couldn't take any more crap. And that's what it makes it. It made it really easy for me to write about that game because I loved it so much, and I was fighting just nonsense, So I was like, I'm writing about this. But with Spider-Man 2, I don't need to share my thoughts on this. Like, that's how I think, anyways. That's what I think of it as. Like, it's a great game. Most people love it. Complaints on PC, lots of complaints on performance issues and stuff like that. Like I said, though, I've seen that on literally every single game on Steam forums. There's not a single game, because I browse the forums for every game that I have in my library, and then I play. I browse the forums, and it's the same crap in every single forum. PC issues and woke. Is it woke? Woke. That's all it is, man. That's all. Like, I can't help it. Now think it's just fake freaking posts. It's so crazy, dude. All right. Anyways, I love this game. I was trying to think about it. I was like, because I don't when I talk about these games and I give my opinion on them, I don't usually think about it. Is this worth the money for you? Because I usually buy games on sale anyways. I usually wait for sales. Is something normal for me. Yeah, I don't usually go by that. I think I even said that earlier in this video, right? I can't remember if it was this video or one of the ones I'm not uploading. But like a 4-hour game being worth $70, that's something I would say, no, that's just, you're an idiot. Shut the hell up. That's stupid. But I mean, being done with the game after 30 hours, I could also say might not be worth $70. Like, only because you can wait for it to be cheaper. That's all really. Like, can I spend the money now and get this? I'm sure. So it just depends on if you want to wait or not. This game, I almost waited on this game, and I think I just, after a few days of it being released on PC, actually, no. I wanted this right away. I wanted this game right away. It was just money, and I was just kind of chilling, and I was like, well, yeah. So no, I did want this right away, and I just waited a few days just cause. Just I wasn't waiting for a sale. I think I was playing something else. I had just gotten Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I was just playing that. And it's hard to go back to that game after playing a good game. It's sad. I don't want to say it. I really love the recreation of the Final Fantasy world, like Final Fantasy VII, the remake, and Rebirth. As far as recreating the old world, that I love. Gameplay wise is terrible. Those games suck so badly. I hate them. But I will play through. I played through freaking Remake twice. Played through it on PS4, then I played through it again recently on PC because I wanted to play it and remember stuff and whatever and get into it before the Rebirth. But they're not good. They're not bad. I don't think they're the worst games or anything. They're just not good. But like I said, the recreation of that original world is really cool. Like I love that part. I like Queen's Blood, the little card game. That actually playing Queen's Blood in Rebirth made me go get into other games like it, like real games. That's what got me into that Astria, the Oracle game, whatever, which is super super cool. And then I picked up a bunch of freaking trading card type games, and I'm planning to get into those like Rogue Book and I forget what else, some others and stuff. All because I like the little tiny mini game Queen's Blood and Final Fantasy Rebirth. And it's a pretty simple game. It does get a little more challenging like further into the game, but it's simple. It's a simple game to understand and get into, and there's the RNG involved with that depending on your, which cards you pull and stuff. But anyways, yeah, so it was funny to me because like I beat this game and I could have easily just jumped right, and I tried for a second, even in my head, I was like, I really don't want to play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth after playing this. Like that's not gonna be a good. It's just not as good. Like I want a good game, and that's why I played Remastered. I was like, you know what? Because I played Spider-Man on PS4 twice. The second time I played New Game Plus, I played it on the hardest difficulty and actually beat it on the hardest difficulty. So yeah, after I beat part 2, I was like, I'm gonna go back and play 1 and Miles Morales again because I hadn't played them on PC yet. I had played a couple hours of Spider-Man Remastered on PC when I first bought it, but I wasn't. I played it twice on PS4. I wasn't quite in the mood to jump back into it again right then. So. But yeah, but after I didn't want to go back to a crappy game after playing Spider-Man 2. And I don't think Final Fantasy Rebirth is crappy. It's just whatever. I do kind of it's weird. It's weird, man. They should be better games. Those Final Fantasy remakes, they should be better and they're not. And that's pretty shameful, I think. Anyways, I'm going to go now. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.